Okay, family, we're reading chapter 6 of Hurt Used to Live Here. Sometimes Beauty Can Conceal the Deepest Scars by a sister named Joyce Reed on chapter 6. A few weeks later, my grandmother on my mother's side had a stroke at home. She was getting ready for the doctor and she fell and hit her head on the nightstand. She cut her feet at the same time while trying to get ready and had blood everywhere. I was in the kitchen and she was walking around the house like everything was okay. I yelled when I saw her face and said, "Sit down, you are bleeding everywhere." She went on to say that she was okay and it was a little cut. "Leave me alone so I can get ready for the doctor," she yelled. That was the third or fourth stroke my grandmother had had within a few months. It was devastating to have to see her going through that. I spent my days after school teaching my grandmother how to read, write, and spell all over again. Sometimes it got frustrating because I would miss hanging out with friends. Months went by and Granny learned more than just words. She learned how to curse again, and cursed like a sailor. She would always curse my best friend Nicole out and tell her that she needs to go home and stay out of the kitchen. She sometimes chased us with her broom around the house. She couldn't control what really came out of her mouth due to the stroke she had. She would say one thing but meant something else. My grandmother was not the person to use curse words at all. It just changed her in so many ways, but I was just glad that she was here. Until one day in October of 1996, my granny was rushed to the ER due to her fourth stroke, and they kept her this time because the cuts on her feet were not healing right. My granny was a diabetic, and the cut on her foot caused an infection called gangrene, and within 2 hours, it had traveled halfway up her leg. The hospital called the family and told the family to come down immediately as the infection was spreading. The family got there and they informed us that they had to do emergency surgery to amputate her leg in order to stop the infection from spreading more. The family decided to go ahead. Before they got prepped for surgery, my nose itching, y'all. Before they got prepped for surgery, the gangrene had spread to the entire left side of her body and she passed away within 20 minutes of them getting her prepared for surgery. Wow. This was the fourth death in our family in 5 months. Why, God? Why me? My grandma Glow's husband, which was my grandfather, also on my mom's side, passed away on August 7th, 1996, from a dog bite that turned into an infection. My God, this is crazy. Let me turn on another light, y'all, because I can't see good. All right, here we go. His alcohol addiction caused the infection not to heal properly, and it killed him slowly. It was kind of crazy because I couldn't attend my grandmother's funeral on my sperm donor side of the family because it was the same day as my grandfather's funeral. My great auntie Bernice died 24 days later on August 31st, 1996 from cancer. Her sister and sister's husband died 24 days apart and she lost her battle to cancer 4 months later. Oh my God, I don't think you guys heard me. I lost my grandfather, my grandmother on my sperm donor side. She also lost her battle to lupus the same month my grandfather passed away. My great aunt, my cousin got killed. He was shot over 20 times by a rival gang in September of 1996. And then my grandma on my mom's side. I lost 6 people in 1996. So far, my number is 8 people passing away in my family. I had to ask, is this really happening to me? I should be going crazy. Enough is enough. I tried to attempt suicide by taking 35 pills and that didn't work. It backfired on me. It actually caused me to throw up a huge pile of vomit, throwing up my insides. I couldn't eat for 3 days due to a sour stomach. I never tried that again. What else was I supposed to do at this point? I felt that God wasn't real. He let me down time after time. I felt numb and dead anyway. After all of this happened to me, I felt that God was not my biggest supporter. I thought he was punishing me for something, and I had no idea what I had done. I was a kid that couldn't take any more. I used to think that I was the devil's child because everything seemed to happen in sixes. 6 deaths in 96. I had one more time that something happened in sixes, and that would have been convinced, and I would have been convinced that I was the devil's child. My goodness. Chapter 7, Losing Part of Me. My father wasn't in my life like he should have been, but I guess he was just being a typical man. I was used to it all my life. My mother wasn't there either mentally or emotionally. I wanted to hear that everything was going to be okay, or come here, baby, give me a hug, or even I love you. I would have given up everything I had that was material to get the love I was missing. Advice. Money can't buy you love, and if you think buying love is real love, then you need to reevaluate yourself. It takes more than money and name brand clothes to raise a child. The change. Now, after little Dayon's death, I was able to let go and forgive and move on with my life. My family really didn't grieve any about deaths or losses. I became the same way. Keep it moving. 2 years passed and my life was better again. I got closer with my brother and further away from my sister. She was the oldest of us three, so she didn't like us to bother her at all. My brother and I tried to just stay away from her. Michael and I had gotten so close that we tag teamed up against her. We played jokes on her and made sure that her hate would be for a reason. We would take her things from her room, which she really loved, and we would use her phone and run up the bill so my mom would think it was her doing it. We just did things to her that would really give her a reason not to like us. I remember my brother Michael wanted to grow his hair, and I was left to put the puffy, tiny ponytails in his head. The girls liked it too. He had me put puffballs in his hair and thought that was cute. I would sit there for hours parting his hair in little sections and putting rubber bands in it to make these little puffballs that he loved. We grew so close that after a while it didn't bother me to do it. I actually started enjoying it myself. He was light-skinned with brown eyes. He was short and skinny with clear skin that he made sure he maintained on a daily basis. He had the cutest freckles that he got from his sperm donor side. I was thankful that my face was covered with them. He had a crooked tooth in the front from my older sister when we were younger. We were all at the park. I can't recall because I was too little, but my mom told me the story, and I can picture every little detail. As my sis was swinging on the swing high, my brother runs right in front of the swing that my sister was on, and she kicks him right in the face, and that's how my brother's front tooth became crooked. He also had a stuttering problem that he suffered from for a while. He went to speech to help with it, and it started to get better when he would take a deep breath before speaking, but it didn't stop the girls from loving him. I would tease him a lot about it, and he would tease me about a lot of things also, so we were even. It was brother and sister love, but we never harmed each other, only when we would try to be overprotective. On another note, my brother and stepdad, Bug, really never got along at all. He was a tall with fair skin and had the tiniest eyes and had burns all over his arms from a fire that happened earlier in his childhood. He stood about 6'2", but overall he was an okay guy to me. I was always told not to trust a man with little eyes. For some reason, my theory was true. My mom met him after she and my father had divorced when I was around 4 years old, and right after Billy, the mean man that beat us all the time. I was just happy that Billy was no longer there, and it was much better when my mom was happy. All right, that's chapter 7, and we will finish tomorrow. All right, talk to y'all soon. Oh, God, thanks for listening. And, hey, you can catch some of the prior chapters if you missed them. Just scroll back, and I have all the chapters numbered. All right, love you. Bye.